It was supposed to be the happiest time of her life. But in a quiet corner of Pinebridge County, joy turned to terror when a young woman's past came back to claim her future. This is the story of Olivia Ward, a 26-year-old mother-to-be whose determination to start over collided with an ex-boyfriend's obsession. It's a case that left an entire town reeling, and a cautionary tale about how quickly love can become deadly. Olivia Ward grew up in Pinebridge, a town small enough that everyone knew her by name. At 26, she was vibrant, independent, and expecting her first child. Her co-workers at the local health clinic described her as the kind of person who'd stay late to help a stranger. Friends said she glowed when she talked about the baby. Olivia's apartment was filled with hope. Neatly folded onesies on the couch, a pastel-painted nursery waiting for a crib. After years of turbulence, she was finally building the future she had dreamed of. But behind Olivia's optimism lurked a shadow. 3 years earlier, she'd dated Nathan Cole, a man who at first seemed charming, even protective. In reality, Nathan's charm masked a controlling temper. Friends noticed the warning signs: jealousy, unexpected visits, arguments that left Olivia in tears. She finally left him, filing for a restraining order after one particularly violent outburst. For a while, it seemed like she'd succeeded in cutting ties. To Nathan, though, the breakup was never final. He watched from the margins, simmering with resentment as Olivia rebuilt her life without him. When Olivia learned she was pregnant by a new partner, she posted a photo of her ultrasound on social media. Friends flooded her with congratulations. Nathan, seeing the post, sent a single emoji, a broken heart, followed by, "We need to talk." Over the next few weeks, the messages multiplied. At first pleading, then angry, then chillingly specific. "You can't ignore me forever. If I can't have you, no one will." Olivia blocked his number. He created new ones. She changed her route to work. He began showing up outside her apartment at night, always just far enough away that the police could call it loitering rather than harassment. "She'd text me at 2 in the morning, one friend recalls. She was terrified, but she didn't want to move again. She was trying to stay strong for the baby. It was a tension building like a storm front, the kind you sense in the air before lightning strikes. On a warm Friday evening in June, Olivia returned from a prenatal checkup. Neighbors noticed a dark sedan parked at the far end of the lot. She didn't. She carried her groceries upstairs, humming softly to calm herself. What she didn't know was that Nathan had been watching for hours. In his car lay a printed photo of her ultrasound, crumpled and stained with coffee. In his pocket, a key he had never returned. By now, the stage was set for a confrontation no one could have predicted. A confrontation that would shatter not just Olivia's life, but the entire community's sense of safety. Saturday dawned bright and deceptively calm. Pinebridge bustled with the weekend farmers market. Children rode bikes in the street. Inside Olivia's apartment, the air felt heavy. She had been up since 4 a.m., rechecking the locks, pacing the nursery. Her phone showed 3 missed calls from a blocked number. Another message slipped through. "I'm coming. We're gonna fix this." She tried to shake it off. She called her sister, made light of it, told her she'd be fine. But in her journal that morning she scribbled, "He won't stop. Please protect my baby." Meanwhile, Nathan Cole was spiraling. Friends later testified he'd been drinking, muttering about Olivia's new life, the baby that should have been mine. He had been collecting objects from their old life together, a necklace, a photo, a spare key, building a shrine of obsession in his apartment. He told himself he only wanted to talk, but in his trunk lay a kitchen knife wrapped in a towel. That evening, just after sunset, Olivia stepped outside to dump her trash. A neighbor watering his plants saw a man slip between cars. Olivia froze when she saw him. He stepped out, smiling, hands spread as if to calm her. "We just need to talk," he said. She backed toward the stairwell, fumbling for her phone. He moved faster. A heated exchange followed, shouts, a scream, and then both disappeared inside the building. Inside the apartment, a struggle erupted. Neighbors heard a crash, glass breaking, Olivia crying out for help. Nathan grabbed her arms, raving about starting over, about his family. Olivia fought back, clawing for the door. She managed to hit the emergency call on her phone. The line stayed open, capturing every sound. Dispatchers heard a male voice, incoherent, a woman pleading, then a sudden thud. Officers were dispatched immediately, sirens screaming through the night. It was a scene of chaos, and it was far from over. 2 doors down, college student Tessa Brown was FaceTiming a friend when she heard the commotion. She ran into the hall, saw Olivia's door ajar, and dialed 911. Another neighbor, a retired firefighter, grabbed a baseball bat and tried to push into the apartment, but Nathan slammed the door. By now, the entire building was awake, the thin line between private violence and public tragedy erased in an instant. Squad cars screeched into the lot, lights painting the walls red and blue. Officers spilled out, weapons drawn, racing up the stairwell. Inside, Nathan barricaded the door, clutching Olivia with one arm and waving the knife with the other. A tense standoff began. Officers shouted commands. Neighbors were evacuated. Olivia, bleeding from a cut on her arm, whispered to the dispatcher still on the line, "Please hurry." What happened next would leave even veteran officers shaken. As a negotiator tried to talk Nathan down, he suddenly dragged Olivia toward the window. He ranted about jumping, about ending it all. Officers surged forward. A flashbang was tossed. In the confusion, Olivia wrenched free, stumbling into the hall. Nathan lunged after her. 3 shots rang out. Nathan collapsed, the knife skittering across the floor. Olivia fell to her knees, sobbing. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital, but the injuries from the struggle and the shock were too severe. Hours later, Olivia and her unborn child were pronounced dead. News of the incident rippled across Pinebridge by morning. Candlelight vigils sprang up on street corners. People left flowers and stuffed animals outside Olivia's building. Her sister stood before reporters, voice breaking. She tried to get help. She did everything right. And still this happened. The tragedy spurred outrage. How could the system fail a woman who had begged for protection? How many warnings had been ignored? Even though Nathan died at the scene, prosecutors opened a posthumous inquiry, revealing a chilling paper trail of threats, police reports, and social media posts. Lawmakers cited Olivia's case while proposing stronger protections for expectant mothers and victims of stalking. In death, Olivia became a catalyst for change, but the cost was unbearable. Within hours of the standoff, Pinebridge detectives began combing through Nathan Cole's car and apartment. What they found was disturbing. A binder filled with Olivia's photos, printouts of her social media posts, and handwritten plans titled Reunion. Investigators also recovered dozens of threatening text messages, emails sent from fake accounts, and an unfiled restraining order violation that had never been acted upon. The picture was clear. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was a campaign of control, escalating over months, hidden in plain sight. Detective Laura Kim, who led the case, told reporters, "This was premeditated. He had been rehearsing this ending." Her words sent a chill through the community. The deeper detectives dug, the more they realized how many warning signs had been missed. Hospital staff had reported Nathan loitering outside Olivia's prenatal visits. A neighbor had filed a noise complaint after a shouting match. Olivia herself had called police twice in the previous month. Yet each incident, isolated, had seemed minor. No one had connected the dots until it was too late. The paper trail became not only evidence, but an indictment of a system that too often puts the burden on victims to prove they're in danger. The tragedy hit Pinebridge like an earthquake. People who had never met Olivia came to vigils carrying candles and stuffed animals. Churches held prayer circles. At town hall meetings, residents demanded stronger stalking laws and faster police response. Olivia's sister, Jasmine Ward, emerged as a reluctant advocate. Standing before a crowd on the courthouse steps, she said, "My sister did everything she was told to do." She reported. She documented. She moved. And still, she died. How many more Olivias do we need before something changes? Her words went viral, igniting a statewide conversation about intimate partner violence. Within weeks, state legislators introduced Olivia's Law, a bill that would require mandatory review of repeated harassment complaints when the victim is pregnant. Advocacy groups used her story as a rallying cry for better funding of shelters and hotlines. Media outlets aired special segments about recognizing red flags and helping friends in abusive situations. What began as a private nightmare had become a catalyst for public action. During the investigation, detectives uncovered a hidden phone Nathan had been using. On it were audio notes, rambling recordings of his plans, his paranoia, and, chillingly, a list of names of people he blamed for taking Olivia away. Detectives believe he may have been planning further violence. The revelation horrified the community, but also validated Olivia's fears. She had been right. He wouldn't stop. The discovery transformed the narrative from a tragic confrontation into a narrowly averted mass tragedy. Months later, Olivia's apartment stood empty, a small shrine of flowers and photos at the door. Inside the State House, Olivia's Law passed with bipartisan support. Posters with her face now hang in shelters and clinics with hotline numbers beneath them. Her sister Jasmine continues to speak at schools and conferences, telling audiences, "I share my sister's story not to scare you, but to show you why you must listen when someone says they're afraid." In the end, Olivia Ward became more than a victim. She became a warning, a symbol, and a reason for change. In Pinebridge, life goes on. The farmer's market, the playground, the quiet streets. But for those who knew Olivia, and for countless others who see themselves in her story, the memory lingers. The tragedy forces a difficult question. How do we protect those most vulnerable before it's too late? There are no easy answers, but one thing is certain. Ignoring the warning signs costs lives. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse or stalking, call your local hotline. Don't wait. Don't hope it will stop on its own. Help is out there. Thank you for watching, and if you found this case as shocking as we did, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications.